All right, let's talk about one of the wildest business stories you'll ever hear. I mean, imagine being a global giant, an icon, and facing a total identity crisis. Imagine changing a secret formula after nearly 100 years and unleashing absolute chaos. Well, that's the story of New Coke. And this whole thing really boils down to one huge, tricky question. It's a question every leader hopes they never have to answer. What do you do when all your research, all your numbers, all your logic points one way, but your customers completely lose their minds? So to really get this, we got to rewind the clock to the early 1980s. You have to remember, Coca-Cola wasn't just a drink. It was basically America in a bottle. And that icon was in big, big trouble. And I'm not talking about a little dip. Look at this. After World War II, Coke pretty much was the market, with a commanding 60% share. But fast forward to 1983, and boom, they'd cratered to less than 24%. That's not a slow leak, folks. That's a full-on crisis. So you're probably asking, what on earth happened? Well, the problem had a name, and that name was Pepsi. And they had come up with this brilliant and kind of brutal marketing campaign that was hitting Coke right where it hurt. It was called the Pepsi Challenge, and wow, it was a game changer. So simple, right? They just set up tables in shopping malls and have people do a blind taste test. And over again, people who swore they were diehard Coke fans ended up picking Pepsi. It was genius, and it was absolutely gutting for Coke, especially with the younger crowd. And look, this wasn't just some marketing fluff. This was real. The true battlefield was the supermarket aisle, and the numbers don't lie. Pepsi was actually starting to outsell Coke. The unthinkable was happening. And this is where it gets really scary for them. Coke did its own internal research, and it confirmed their absolute worst nightmare. The issue wasn't the brand. It wasn't the ads. It was the product itself. People just, they like the taste of Pepsi better. So what do you do? Well, the CEO at the time, Roberto Guizueta, he made a call. He said, forget tradition, forget emotion. We are going to solve this with science. We're going to use data to build a better Coke. And that decision kicked off this super secret mission they called Project Kansas. The goal? It was audacious, to say the least. They were going to tamper with the sacred 99-year-old recipe to make something that could finally beat Pepsi in a head-to-head taste test. And they were dead serious about this. They threw $4 million at it. That's over $11 million in today's money. This wasn't some small experiment. It was a huge bet on the future of the entire company. And the research they did was just massive. We're talking 200,000 individual blind taste tests all across the country. They wanted to be absolutely, positively sure. No room for error. They wanted a mountain of proof. And guess what? The results came back, and they were undeniable. This new formula wasn't just a little better. It was a clear winner. It beat Pepsi. Heck, it even beat the original Coke. 55% of people chose it. The data was screaming at them. This is it. You've found the answer. So, with all this perfect data in hand, on April 23rd, 1985, they did it. And they didn't just introduce a new option. No. They made one of the riskiest moves in business history. They completely got rid of the original Coke. It was gone. Poof. Replaced by new Coke. So the launch should have been this huge celebration, right? Perfect data, sound logic. But it wasn't. It was an absolute, unmitigated disaster from day one. The public didn't just dislike it. They revolted. I mean, the backlash was instant. The company's phone lines, which usually got maybe 400 calls a day, were suddenly swamped with 1,500 calls every single day. And these were just, hey, I don't like this. People were yelling, they were crying, they felt betrayed. This thing just spiraled into a total cultural phenomenon. You had protest groups popping up like the Old Cola Drinkers of America. Coke's own partners, the bottlers, were getting screamed at by customers. People literally started hoarding old Coke, buying up every last case they could find like it was liquid gold. And this right here really gets to the core of the problem, doesn't it? The data. The millions of dollars of data said the new stuff tasted better. But what the data didn't measure was emotion. People felt like Coke had stolen a piece of their childhood. It wasn't about taste, it was about identity. So all of this chaos lands right back on the CEO's desk.
Roberto Goizueta has a massive decision to make. And really, it's a pretty simple choice, but the entire future of Coca-Cola is riding on it.
He basically has two paths. Option A, double down. Trust the data, trust the $4 million in research. I mean, if they go back now, it's a massive public failure. It's admitting they messed up and that Pepsi won. Or option B, pivot and retreat. Admit you made a huge mistake, listen to your customers, and just stop the bleeding. And let's be really clear about this. All of those numbers, every single one of those 200,000 data points, they all say you made the right call.
But the people, your customers, the entire country is screaming with one voice. You made a terrible, terrible mistake.
So that's where we're going to leave it. I want you to put yourself in his shoes for a second. You are the CEO. Your data says you're a genius. The world says you're an idiot. Do you trust the numbers or do you trust the people? The board is waiting. What's your call?